The day the aliens took over the wrong planet. Chapter 1: Arrival and Conquest. The Vraxan fleet glided through the cold expanse of space, their hulls gleaming with the eerie glow of distant stars. From a distance, their ships resembled giant armored beetles, sleek, black, and bristling with spines that housed weapons capable of wiping out entire civilizations. At the helm of the flagship, Admiral Zokrath stood with his arms folded, his sharp, insectoid eyes fixed on the dusty sphere rotating slowly before him. E-57. A barren, unremarkable planet orbiting a dying star at the edge of a galactic arm no one cared about. Another backwater husk, Zokrath muttered, talons tapping the console in a slow rhythm. No atmosphere, no civilization, not even biological residue. This will be over in minutes. The bridge buzzed with activity as officers relayed commands to thousands of soldiers and automated drones. The Dominion's methods were ruthless but efficient. They would land, secure the surface, drill into the core, and extract any useful resources. Afterward, they would leave nothing behind, no signs of life, no trace of what had been stolen. The planet would be reduced to slag and ash by the time they were done. Zokrath leaned toward the tactical display, where an outline of E-57 spun slowly on the screen. It appeared to be a rocky wasteland, covered with jagged cliffs and grey deserts. Below the surface, preliminary scans revealed deep fault lines and mineral deposits, a potentially rich supply of geothermal energy. Activate the planetary anchors, he commanded. Deploy the swarm. Inside his command chamber, Zokrath allowed himself a rare moment of satisfaction. Another victory for the Dominion, another step toward galactic domination. The planet was theirs to take, another lifeless rock waiting to be plundered. But then, things began to go wrong. At first, it was subtle. The anchors stalled, their drills suddenly meeting unexpected resistance. The metal screamed as it scraped against something unyielding beneath the rock, something that wasn't just stone. It was soft, but impossibly dense, as though the planet's core wasn't made of molten metal but living tissue. Anchor team reports complications, a lieutenant said, nervously adjusting the holographic map. The drills are encountering strange material beneath the crust. Zokrath frowned. Strange? What do you mean, strange? Organic, the lieutenant replied, confusion thick in his voice, but no life signs detected. Before the Admiral could respond, the ground shifted beneath the deployed troops. The drones reported tremors, small at first, but growing more violent by the second. Cracks spread across the rocky surface, and what emerged was not more rock but something smooth and pulsing, like veins glowing faintly beneath skin. What in the name of Zokrath hissed, leaning closer to the display as he watched his drones try to regroup. The planet's surface writhed beneath them, jagged cliffs curling inward like the ridges of a monstrous hand, closing into a fist. The ground opened into a vast, gaping maw that swallowed entire drone squads in seconds. Tendrils thick, coiling like the roots of a tree, burst from beneath the soil, slithering across the surface and smashing into the anchors. The machines, designed to withstand nuclear blasts, were ripped apart as if they were nothing more than brittle twigs. Zokrath's comms channels filled with static and broken transmissions. Ground units report. What's happening down there? A garbled voice answered, panic evident in the tone. On the ground. It's moving, it's alive. Eef. Then, silence. The Admiral slammed a clawed fist into the console. This isn't possible. Scanners detected no life. The Admiral slammed a clawed fist into the console. This isn't possible. Scanners detected no life. His second in command, Lieutenant Threlk, stared at the shifting surface in disbelief. Admiral, I don't think this is a planet. I think this is some kind of living organism. That's absurd, Zokrath snapped, though deep down, unease gnawed at him. He had conquered countless worlds, slaughtered billions across the stars, but he had never encountered anything like this. Planets were not supposed to fight back. More anchors shattered as the tendrils burrowed into the machinery. Ships in low orbit trembled as the tentacles reached skyward, wrapping around them with terrifying speed. The warships, once symbols of the Vraxans' military might, were dragged down like flies caught in a spider's web, their hulls crushed by the creature's impossible strength. The The ground quaked beneath the fleet's flagship. "Admiral, we're detecting massive seismic activity," shouted an officer. "If we don't retreat." "We don't retreat," Zolkrath snarled, though the panic was rising in his chest. He slammed the emergency comms. "All units initiate extraction procedures. Pull out the anchors and regroup." The command was meaningless. The planet the creature had already made its move. In a slow, deliberate motion, the surface peeled open, revealing vast, glowing eyes embedded beneath the crust. They blinked slowly, as though awakening from an ancient slumber. Thousands of eyes, scattered across the planet's surface, all turned toward the invading fleet, each filled with a terrifying, alien intelligence. The ground rumbled again, and a deep, guttural groan echoed through the atmosphere. It wasn't the sound of tectonic plates shifting. It was the sound of the creature waking up. The ships in orbit began to shake violently as invisible waves of energy radiated outward from the planet. Instruments flickered and died, engines sputtered, and gravity wells twisted unpredictably. The Vraxan fleet, which had once moved with precision and purpose, now drifted helplessly in the monster's grip. "Admiral," Lieutenant Threlk whispered, his voice barely audible over the chaos. "What have we done?" Zokrath clenched his fists, fury boiling within him. "Deploy the rest of the fleet. We will burn this thing to the ground." But deep down, a sickening realization crept into his mind. They hadn't invaded a planet. They had woken something that had been waiting for eons. And now it was awake. The sky darkened as tendrils the size of mountains surged upward, wrapping around the flagship and pulling it toward the writhing surface below. The Admiral's last command echoed through the bridge. Fight. Fight or be consumed. But no amount of fighting would save them from what they had unleashed. E-57 wasn't just alive. It was hungry,